Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Today I'm playing a learning game of Shackleton Base, just the base game. I already went all through unboxing and setup on my members-only first look video. So I have everything set up here for a solo game using the 3 corporations that they recommend for your first game. I plan to make a full playthrough video for the 3 expansion corporations. But before I do that, I need to learn the game, and I thought the best way of doing that was just to start with the base game. And I think it can be useful to show off the learning process and just how messy it can be. Learning takes time and energy, for all of us. Let's go through that process together. Maybe you're learning the game. We can do it together. So I've already gone through the first phase of a round, which is the shuttle phase. Basically, I gave one of these to the AI opponent face down, and then I drew 2 for me. I got to pick one, so I picked this one, and this gave me, starting resources and starting astronauts, and then the one I didn't choose goes over there and fills out that space, which is called something. The Lunar Gateway area. That's what that's called. So this is what I'm starting with. Got 1 titanium, 1 rare earth, 8 money, and I have one of these helium-3s from the Moon Mining Corporation. That was because my starting dome was next to one of their corporation tokens. You can see in the solo game, you put out 2 sort of neutral domes as well. But yeah, other than that, we're ready to begin. And it looks like the solo opponent is going first because their rocket has a 2, mine has a 3. So we adjusted the turn order up there, and they get to take their first turn. Now this is where I'm really going to have to rely on the rules and walk through this step by step because I haven't thoroughly read through the solo rules yet. But what they do on their turn is they just flip over one of their action cards. And you place it to the right of the previous card. And these 2 cards together create this kind of middle section. And that's sort of what we're looking at to determine what their actions are going to be and where and stuff like that. So the first thing we look at is we look at this A, B, and C, which represent the 3 different corporations here, A, B, and C. And we look to see, which ones are matching. So in this case, the B is matching. It's on both. So that means the B corporation is going to be the active corporation. If they were both matching, then you would go with the one that's red. We now look at this symbol there that's on the right-hand side. That one means we just move this over to the right by 1. That's called the development marker. Our solo opponent, by the way, is called the Astrobot, so we'll refer to it as that. Nothing happens immediately with this development marker, but it sort of informs its actions. The higher up it goes, the larger buildings it'll start to build, and the better goal spots it'll take, things like that. Now we go on the right-hand card, and we look down here, and we resolve the actions. We first try to resolve the top action. If it has a yellow worker, then we'll do that action, and it does. So we take the yellow astronaut, and that shows that it's going to come here to the construction spot. So let's follow the rules here for building a structure. These yellow astronauts, by the way, are engineers. And the type of structure that the Astrobot's going to build is determined by the development track. So right here, it's currently at position 1. If it was at position 2, it would build, a size 2 structure. But right now, it's only going to build a size 1, a dome. And now we have to figure out where it's going to build. And this is a little complicated. So first, we take the leftmost dome. And now we're going to look on here, and there's a little triangle. I don't know how well this is going to be shown, but there's a little triangle there. I'll try to do a close-up on the card. It's showing a certain row. That row, I believe. Yeah, so that row, like right there. So starting with the row indicated by the triangle on the solo card and following the arrow, if needed. So it shows an arrow going around sort of clockwise. Search for the first available row where Astrobot would gain an astronaut if the round ended now. So when the round ends, we're going to look out here at the structures that have been completed. There's going to be astronauts on these little spots here. So we're going to look at that row of each of these astronauts that have been deployed. And whoever has the greatest value of structure in that row, which means we just add up the little domes, right? So right now in this row, I have 1 and nobody else has any. I would have the greatest value of structure. I get to take that astronaut and add it to the empty spaces on my board. And having astronauts on your board give you different benefits: money, resources, victory points at the end of the game, things like that. So it wants to build on a row where it will gain an astronaut. And it wouldn't be this row because the neutral player has 2 value and they would just have 1. So we're looking for the first available row where Astrobot would gain an astronaut if the round would end now. And going around, it wouldn't be here because that's a tie. Let me check. How are ties broken? Okay, in the case of a tie, the astronaut goes to the tied player with the biggest structure in the sector closest to the astronaut slot. Oh, you go by closest sectors. Okay, so they wouldn't have it here. So we keep going around. No, and here. So this is the first row where if it ended right now, they would gain an astronaut that was here. Okay. So Astrobot's going to build in the powered sector closest to the astronaut if able. So the astronaut would be here, but the only powered sector is up there, and they can't build there because they have already built a dome there. And there's only space for, a 1, a 2, a 3, or all 6. So you can only have 1 dome, 1 workshop, is that what that's called? 1 laboratory, and 1 headquarter in a sector. So otherwise, choose other powered sector in the row. There's no other powered sector in the row. If there is no room for the structure in the powered sector, Astrobot builds a solar panel in the sector closest to the astronaut and builds its structure there. Oh, okay, hold on, I got this wrong. So when it says search for the first available row where Astrobot would gain an astronaut if the round would end now, that's implying that there's an astronaut there. So down here it says, if there is no astronaut in the crater, which is the case right now, Astrobot builds in the powered sector closest to the triangle. Okay, so we're back to there. That's where the triangle was. So it's going to build in the sector, in the powered sector closest, but it can't. If there is no room for the structure in the powered sector, Astrobot builds a solar panel, therefore gaining reputation and producing energy in the sector closest to the triangle and builds its structure there. If still not possible, continue searching in the next available row following the arrow. Woo, okay. Again, like I said, a little convoluted, but I think at this point, it's building its structure right there. So it's going to look around to see where it could win an astronaut that's actually out. Since no astronauts are out right now, it's going to go next to the triangle if it can. It would look first for any, powered sector that it could go into. But since there isn't a powered sector it can go into, it's going to generate its own power by building a solar panel. So you just take the next solar panel, going around clockwise. It shows a number there. That's how much energy is produced, in this case 1. And it moved on to a section there that's giving it 1 reputation, as you can see underneath. So we move up 1 on the reputation track. Now, Astrobot never takes any resources or credits. It just does the action, doesn't have to spend anything like that. Okay, great. Bonus action. After resolving its action entirely, Astrobot places a corporation token from the current corporation if possible. So you can see here, that's the bonus of this action if you use an engineer. So it's got the Moon Mining Corporation as its active corporation. And it's just going to place 1 of its corporation tokens in the adjacent slot. And now we have some notes here that if the energy track is on one of these last two spots, that means there's too much energy, which means you can't build a solar panel. You have to spend some energy first. And so in that case, the Astrobot would instead go to the lunar gateway. And it does say that Astrobot triggers immediate effects from domes, but not laboratories, and does not spend titanium or rare earth for structures. Yes, but it will consume energy if so required. Okay, fair enough. I think that is the entire turn for Astrobot. Now it comes to us, and we get to take a turn. And we're just going to keep going back and forth like that until we've run out of our 6 astronauts. Now for our turn, we're just going to try some different things. This is a learning game. We're not worried about, being strategic here. We just want to pull all the levers and push all the buttons. And there's a lot of different actions that we could take. I'm going to go over them as we play. I'm going to start, though, I think, by getting one of those cards, those project cards. I'm going to take a red astronaut. I could use any color. You don't have to use these corresponding colors in these spots. It's just if you do, you get a little bonus at the end. So I will use a red there. It's free because that first slot is free. As it goes along, it gets more expensive. It's a reason to maybe jump in here early. This is going to cost a lot of credits. This is going to cost 5 credits because I want to go to the Moon Mining Corporation. I want to get this card, this Promethium Mine. The cost is right there, so it actually went up because one of their markers got put out, but that's okay. We're going to spend 5 credits. We also have to be at a 5 energy level, which we are now, and then we have to spend 1 of those energies. And this is going to let us gain 2 credits whenever we take a corporation action. Thematically, we're delivering these goods, and so anytime we deliver at least 1 rare earth. I think a new card comes out immediately. And then, because we used a red astronaut, we can take 1 company action or corporation action. So for the moon mining, the corporation action is just to do one of those deliveries. And so I think I will deliver a rare earth and this helium-3 that I started with. Put that there. I think actually I'll do that one. So I'm going to get 4 points. And 3 credits. And then because I delivered at least 1 rare earth, I'm going to get 2 more credits. So there we go. I got my 5 credits right back. And then you just cover that with a box. You can only do each one of these once per round. At the end of the round, we'll clear all those off. And the game lasts 3 rounds in total. I believe that's my entire turn. So at the end of the turn, you can claim 1 or several corporation goals if you meet them. Okay, let's move back to the Astrobot. So there we go. A and B are both there. So we'll do the one in red. That's B. So once again, this is the active corporation. Once again, they're just moving this marker forward. And this time they want to do a blue action. They do have a blue worker. They're going to come here. This is where you can take 3 corporation actions. So let's see what they do in this case. So they want to perform 1 corporation action for each of the 3 corporations in play in order, A, B, and C. So each corporation solo card indicates what Astrobot does when performing their corporation actions. Okay, that's what these are. For each corporation action Astrobot cannot perform, it gains 2 reputation instead. I'll read about these, but I think with Artemis, it just takes 1 of the tourists, I believe these are, and it just puts it right here, and it gains that many victory points. So here it's gaining 1 victory point. Okay, they're listed in detail here. So yeah, tourists. Okay, take the next tourist from the Artemis board and place it on the lowest VP value. And the Astrobot immediately scores the indicated VP. Perfect. So for moon mining, take a cargo token and place it on a shuttle slot according to the development track and the arrow on the solo action card. Okay, I see. So the arrow is going that way, so it's going to be on top. If the selected slot is occupied, use the other slot at the same level. If none is available, look at the next level. If all slots at the right are occupied, ship to the rightmost available slot. Astrobot ignores the bonus on the corporation board and instead gains the VP indicated value indicated on the corporation card for the selected slot. Okay. So this goes 0, 1, and 3. So we're at 2. So I guess we go down to 1. So there we go. We're covering that one and getting 2 points. And then selenium research. Depending on where the triangle points, take the corresponding experiment tile and discard it. Astrobot ignores the reward on the tile. Instead, it gains VP as specified on the Solo Corporation card. Okay, so because that arrow is coming in like that, that's going to be the leftmost tile is getting discarded, and then it's going to score 1 point. And it gets refilled. All right, now it performs a bonus action. After resolving its action entirely, Astrobot gains an astronaut from the Lunar Gateway, chosen according to these priorities. The astronaut whose type is least numerous in Astrobot's base. Okay, right now that would be all of them. Followed by the astronaut whose type is least numerous in the Lunar Gateway. Okay, that's blue. So it's going to take a blue, and it's going to put it on its board. Okay, when placing astronauts in Astrobot's base, place it on a matching available slot if possible. Otherwise, place it on any empty slot. So there's no real matching, so we'll just put it on an empty slot right there. Great, and then they're done. Back to us. Well, I think one thing we want to do is build. We want to build some, and that requires titanium. So we can go out here with a yellow worker and gain some materials. So we can pick from any of these, and then we're going to activate everything that's in that row. So let's say I go to that spot. We'll activate these 3 things, right, that are powered. The cost there is 1, so we have to spend 1 of our money. This is wrong, but don't worry, in just a minute I will correct everything. And the special ability of my leader is that I only ever have to spend 1, regardless of what it says, as long as it's in a row. No, I mean, as long as it's in a sector that I don't have a building in. But in this case, that doesn't matter. And now because I used a yellow worker, we're going to get the goods from each of those sectors. If I had used a red worker, we would get 3 money. And if I used a blue, we would activate the tokens. Now let's see, do I have to pay the bot? After a bunch of searching, I finally found the answer. So for each sector, you're going to look to see who has the largest building, and you're going to pay them. So here, I paid this early. I don't have to pay that one yet. That 1 there that's shown there, and some of these have 2s and some have 3s, that's what I have to pay to the person who has the largest building in the sector, if it's not me. If it's me, I get to do it for free. So in this case, I have to pay 1 to Astrobot. But since Astrobot doesn't take money, I just pay it to the supply. Now that's not in the rule book as far as I can see. I don't see that anywhere. I looked all throughout the rule book. I had to go online to find that answer. I will say right now, this rule book is terrible. Things are worded in very ambiguous, vague ways. There's a lot of things that aren't answered. There's also a lot of typos and, just editing errors. It takes a lot for me to call a rule book bad, but this has been a really tough rule book to get through. So if I'm making any mistakes here, it could be my fault, but there's a lot of vague language here in this rule book, especially in the solo rules. Those don't seem to have been as edited, or at least not edited as thoroughly and checked as thoroughly as the other rules. So we paid the supply, and now we can get what's in the middle there, which is a titanium. And now we go to the next sector. That's the neutral player, so we're going to pay the neutral player 1. And we're going to get a rare earth. The middle doesn't count for anything, then we go to the next one, have to pay again, and we get a titanium. So there we go. Now we have a bunch of resources that we can use to... Heck, we have enough resources to even build this level 3, which I think are workshops? No, laboratories. One of these is workshops and one of them is laboratories. I think these are laboratories. So the match is A. So A is the active. Okay, and we got a new symbol there. That just means that you move this over to the right. And then once it falls off, it's going to come out here and claim one of the goals. And which goal it claims will be based on where its development marker is. So we'll see that here in a little bit, probably. But you can see right now it's going to claim the cheapest goal. Once it gets here, it'll claim the middle goal. And then over here, it'll claim the best goal. Okay, so it wants to build again. Come here. Doesn't have to pay. So now look at it. The development marker here is now at the 2 spot, so it's going to be building this. Starting in that row. And this is one of the ambiguous things in the rules, because it says that, well, here, let's just read it. And I've looked online and I didn't see like a definitive answer. But it says here, starting with the row indicated by the triangle on the solo card and following the arrow if needed. Search for the first available row where Astrobot would gain an astronaut if the round would end now. So the question is, are you including placing of that building or not? That's the question. Because we go around, there's one astronaut out there. If it ended right now, it would not win that astronaut. But if we place this building, then it would, if it ended right now. So when is now? Is now before I place the building or after I place the building? I think it makes the most sense for it to want to place the building if it can win the astronaut. I don't think it would make much sense for it to say, well, I'm not currently winning it, so I won't place this, even though if I place it, it will then let me win it. So again, if you can tell me what, if the designer has ruled on this or not, but that's the way I'm going to play it. So we'll say it will place in that row. There are basically 2 spots there that are equivalent. So how does it decide? Closest to the astronaut. I think it's going to build right there. So it's already powered, so it doesn't need to build another solar panel. And now it's going to place a corporation token from A. And there's only that 1 spot available. Back to us. I really want to build. Let's go here. That's going to cost $2. That'll let us build. I want to build one of these workshops. So that's going to cost 2 titanium. Shows the cost right there. And I'm going to build here. Now, I can't build here because you can only have at most 1 building in each sector. You can't double up on a sector. So there we go. I'm going to place right there. It's already powered, so I don't have to worry about that. And then coming over here, we get this ability. So I could either place one of these around the sector, or I could activate one that's already there. So I'm just going to activate that one. Get a little helium-3. That is my turn. All right, C. Selenium research is now active. We're going to move that forward. And they want to get a project. So they're coming here. All right, let's find out how that works. So Astrobot chooses the project worth the most VP. Again, the active corporation is Selenium. This one's worth 5. Check the energy requirement. Astrobot never spends credits, indicated in white on the lowest visible slot of the active corporation board. If the energy level is equal to or higher than this requirement, go to step 3. So the energy needs to be at 4, and it is, so it's equal to it. So if there wasn't enough energy here, then Astrobot must reduce the requirement or produce energy before, in this order. Apply its development track discount, then virtually buy energy if the level is below 3, and build a solar panel if it is still not sufficient. The solar panel is placed on the center hex of the main board and will be used later by any player. Ah, right, because when you're doing one of these actions, you can spend a rare earth to build a solar panel, and you can just place it here in the middle, and it can be used by another player, when they're actually building and they need something to be powered. So that's a way that you can increase the energy, if you need that for some reason. So that's what the bot would do if there wasn't enough energy. We don't have to worry about that, so it's going to take the project, we're going to place it next to Astrobot's base, it ignores all of its effects, it will only produce VPs at the end of the game, so we can just stack them all up. Great. And then reveal a new project. And then its bonus action, after resolving its action entirely, Astrobot performs a corporation action for the active corporation. So it's going to remove the middle. And get a point. Cool. Ooh, I don't have enough money. I'm actually tempted to go to the Lunar Gateway, or whatever it's called. Yeah, maybe I will go to the Lunar Gateway. Do I want to go with a red or a blue? I could go here, actually. Whoops. Yeah, maybe I'll take a blue worker and go here. That's going to cost 1. So now I can take 3 corporation actions. Now, each corporation has its own action, but there's also the reputation track. And so for my first corporation action, I'm going to do this, which is gain 2 reputation. Actually, no, I have a better idea. I'm going to do some corporation actions there from moon mining first. First, that one, I'm going to ship this rare earth. So that's 2 points, 2 reputation. And because of this, I also get 2 credits. Second, I'm going to ship this. That's 2 more points. 3 credits. And then for my third one, I'm just going to get reputation. So because I was in this area of the reputation track for a corporation action, I could just get 2 reputation. Now I'm in the sort of a second sector, so I can also, as a corporation action, take a titanium. At the end of the game, we're actually going to get points for how far we are on the reputation track. Okay, and I used a blue worker here, so I do get this ability. I get to take one of the astronauts from the Lunar Gateway and put it onto my board. I'm going to get this yellow and place it here. I have 2 spaces here, and that's going to be helpful because now I'm going to get a 3 credit discount on my upkeep. At the end of the round, we're going to have upkeep on all of our stuff, especially our buildings. So I'm going to have to spend 2 for this, 1 for this dome, and then 1 for my reputation. So this will give me a 3 reduction. So instead of paying 4, I'll only have to pay 1. Oh, and you know what? I did forget. When it took that card, it did have to reduce the energy by 1. So we are at 3 energy. Great. C is active again. And here we go. It's finally going to be placing out here. It's going to use a blue worker, and let's find out how it does that. So it's going to search for the first available crater slot where it would gain the astronaut if the round was to stop now, starting with the position marked by the triangle on its solo action cards, and following the arrow. Astrobot never gains resources from the crater. For each sector in the selected row where you have a structure, while Astrobot has none, gain credits from the bank equal to the value on the selected slot. I'm about to make a mistake, so I wanted to warn you ahead of time. I'm going to look at the triangle marker here, when I should be looking at the triangle marker inside the box. It's a very easy mistake to make, so be careful out there. So it's starting here and then going counterclockwise. Here it would win, right? I have 2 value, it has 3. So I think it's going to go there. That's a 3 spot. This is a sector where I have a building and it does not, so it's going to pay me $3. Hey, don't mind that. Now I'm flush with cash. Okay, I think I have a little bit of a plan. And I think I want to go to the Lunar Gateway. So I'll put my blue up there. I'm going to get 3 credits. So this is another place that we can go with our worker. And you can see there at the bottom, this is what we get to do. We get 3 credits. Then we get to take one of the astronauts and put it onto our board. I'll take another yellow. I could put it here, but I think I'll put it there because that will give me an income of a titanium. And then I can do 1 corporate action. I want to do this one that I just got on the reputation track. I'm going to get another titanium. Okay, and that is me done. Last action, A. This moves forward. It only has a yellow, and so it's going to go out here again. Starting there and moving counterclockwise. And it's looking for a spot where it would win. Which is right there. And it's not paying me anything for that. There we go. It's that simple. Now it's us, and I want to build. This is going to be an expensive build spot. It's going to cost 3. I want to build another workshop. We're going to build it right there. It's already powered, so that's great. That costs 2 titanium. And I don't get to do the bonus action because I used the wrong worker, but that's okay. And there we go. That is the action phase done for the first round. We're now going to move to the maintenance phase. During the maintenance phase, we're going to do quite a lot of cleanup. So we're going to start by doing the maintenance actions for each of the corporations. Each one is unique, and it's talked about on their little sheet. So you can just refer to the sheet. It'll tell you exactly what to do during each maintenance phase. For the Artemis tours, you simply take all the tourists and put them back. But you first look to see how many have been taken. So right now, we're in this section here, the 3 victory point section. So every single Artemis tourist that gets returned to their board, that player gets 3 points. So Astrobot's getting 3 points. For moon mining, it's very simple. You just clear off the boxes. Selenium research is also very simple. You just take away the round 1 experiments and put the round 2 in. Now we're retrieving astronauts from the crater. So we're going to start from the topmost crater space. We're going to go around in clockwise order. So like I mentioned before, we're going to look at the row and see who has the most total structure count, total structure value. So here we have 2 and Astrobot has 1. So we actually get that. And we can welcome them onto our board. Now we go to this one, and once again, we get it. We have 4 to Astrobot's 3 to the neutral player's 2, because it's the whole row. I could house it here if I wanted to, but that wouldn't help. I'm going to put it in this spot right here. That's a little welcoming spot, so when something opens up, we can move them into there. And then we're going to go around, and boom, same thing, same row. We get that one, and they're going to come in here. So that's why I wanted to build that there right away. Oh, and I forgot something else. At the end of my turn, after I had built that structure, I wanted to take one of these goals. You can claim goals at the end of your turn, and I can claim that one, which is to build 2 workshops in sectors that are next to Moon Mining's corporate tokens. And they also have to be different corporate tokens. So we have achieved that. In a 2-player game, we only look at the top numbers. No one can claim this goal again. And we're going to get 8 points. Nice. Okay, so I had forgotten to do that. I should have done that at the end of my turn. I should say that if the Astrobot were to gain any astronauts from this phase, during the first 2 rounds, you place scientists in domes, and you place everyone else in headquarters if built. Otherwise, fill the available slots from left to right and from top to bottom, placing first the matching astronauts and then placing the rest. During the final round, you want to fill out your laboratories first with the matching astronauts. That's because they're going to give in-game victory points. Okay, and now we get to collect our income. Now, Astrobot gains 2 victory points for each scientist in its domes and 1 reputation for each astronaut in its headquarters. It does have a scientist in one of its dome spaces, so it gets 2 victory points. Oh, and I'm just realizing something. Up here at the top of these cards, that is an immediate effect that you get. So we should have gotten a rare Earth immediately. So we'll get it now. Cool, okay. Well, that's handy. As far as income goes, I think all I'm getting is this here. Getting 1 titanium for having a yellow worker in one of these dome spaces. That's shown over here. A red worker would give you 3 credits, and a blue gives you 2 victory points. So if you have people in your headquarters, they'd give you reputation, and some of these projects might have income. But now we have to pay maintenance costs. So we have pretty substantial maintenance costs, but they're going to be really offset. Here, it's 2 credits for each of these, so that's 4. It's 1 credit for each dome. That's 5 total. And then where you are on the reputation track, we're right here. So that's 1 credit. So we have 6 credits worth of maintenance costs, but they're offset by 3 for each of these yellow workers in here. So we actually don't have to pay anything. Each laboratory has a upkeep cost of 3, and your headquarters has an upkeep cost of 4. I don't believe the bot's going to have to pay anything. Nope. No maintenance cost for the bot. Now we just do some cleanup. So every astronaut here just goes back to the supply. And then we clean up the bot's cards by keeping that last card. We take the other 6 and shuffle them. That last card that they played becomes the first card. And we just shuffle up their action deck again. We take these away, and we have a set for round 2 and round 3. Let me see if we clean up. Do we clean up? Oh, no, we don't. We leave them there. Yeah, there we go. That is pretty much it. We're now going to start the second round. We would take these, shuffle them, give the bot 1 face down. Then we would get 2. We get to pick which one we want. I don't mind going second. I think I'll take fewer yellows, though. That's the problem. Yeah, with only one yellow worker, it's going to be harder to get resources. But here we have an extra titanium. I think I want the extra worker. So I'm going to come here. I'll take this one. This one's going to go up there. Oh, they got the number 1, so they're going to be first anyway. So again, we ignore the top. We'll just give them those workers. And then, yeah, we'll just continue on doing that again for round 2 and round 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. I'm going to play out the rest of the game until the end, and then we can go over in-game scoring. But before I do that, I want to just briefly discuss some of the things that haven't come up yet in the game. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Let me just talk about the other 2 corporations and their specific corporation action. So for the Artemis tours here, the idea is that, you're going to activate these tokens and you're going to get some of these tourists. You're also going to get some of these project cards. And then as a corporate action, you can place the tourists onto those cards in order to get points or resources or money. Often it's money. Then as we saw at the end, they all go back to the board and you get some victory points for that. For the Selenium research, you basically have those research projects. So when you activate their tokens, you get, whatever is shown on the token, you get those goods. And then you spend those goods in order to complete the various different experiments. And again, you'll get all sorts of stuff there. Even right there, you get a building. So that's basically how these work. Again, these are the simplest of the corporations. There's 7 corporations in the base game. And then the expansion is going to add 3 more. The expansion corporations are on the more difficult side, more complex side, especially compared with these. I already feel like I have a pretty good idea of how this is all coming together. I will say another thing that I probably haven't mentioned is here, if you build these laboratories, you get to activate these for every laboratory that you've uncovered. And so you just sort of immediately get the goods from the sector where you place this, get 3 money, and then you get to activate one of the tokens. And then at the end of the game, you get either 2, 5, or 10 points if they're filled up, if you have 1, 2, or 3 of the type of astronaut that's shown on the sides here. There's also a bunch of little things like when you build your headquarters, you get an extra special ability from your leader. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish the game, and then we'll go over in-game scoring and see what that looks like. And we're back. I've just finished all 3 rounds, and now I want to take you through the in-game scoring. At the moment, Astrobot is ahead by like 16 points. It's, 67 to 51. But I have a feeling we're going to close that gap. So first we're going to score VP from our projects. Now I only have 2. Each are worth 3, so I get 6 points. Astrobot actually has quite a few. 9, 13, 16, 20. Yikes, I might have spoken too soon, actually. We then score points for astronauts in our laboratories. So I have 3 yellow in the yellow laboratory. You can see if you just have 1, you get 2 points. 2 is worth 5 and 3 is worth 10. So I've done that for the yellow and the blue. So I'm getting 20 points for mine. And they have 1 and 2 of them. So that's 2 points each. That's 4. Ooh, now we get points for our reputation track. Oh yeah, I'm not going to actually be able to cover this distance. They're at 8, so they're going to get 8 points. We're at 15. And then the corporations might have in-game points, but these don't. So that's actually it. It was close, but it looks like we lost this one 99 to 92. So there you go. That was my learning game of Shackleton Base. Stay tuned for my playthrough of the expansion. We're going to be using 3 expansion corporations. I'm going to be using the new expansion leader. So stay tuned for that. I hope you'll check it out. I'd like to thank all the financial supporters of Totally Tabled, including the Totally Radical Hextra, John Kohler, Scott Myers, and Jay Satterwhite, as well as the Totally Bodacious Tobias Schumacher. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can join on YouTube or my Patreon at www.patreon.com/totallytabled. You'll gain access to my new exclusive podcast, Table Talk, as well as unboxing videos and whatever extra stuff I come up with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.